Hello everyone, welcome to E-English class. I am Vinod Kumar, a teacher from Kurnool district. In last classes, we did a pre-reading activity, a reading activity and a post-reading activity related to the first slot of a reading passage, that is Attitude is Altitude, from the first unit of 10th class English textbook. Now we are going to see the second slot from the same reading passage, that is Attitude is Altitude, and this slot begins at the last paragraph on page number 3, and it runs to the second last paragraph on page number 4. So here is the beginning. When Nick was born, his father was so shocked, and it runs to become an international symbol of triumph over adversity. So we are going to see the meaning of these paragraphs. But before that, let us look at some important words and their meanings in glossary. So here is the list of important words. Students, you can underline these words and you can make a note of these meanings. This will help you when you read this part. It will be very helpful. So let us go through these words. Number 1, distraught. Distraught means extremely upset. Extremely upset. And second word is phocomelia. Phocomelia is a disease that causes very short limbs at the time of birth, and sometimes absence of limbs also. So a disease that causes very short limbs or absence of limbs at the time of birth is called phocomelia. Next word is bully. Have you heard the word? In the introduction, when we were introduced to Nick, or when Nick was introduced to us, we heard that Nick is an advocate of anti-bullying. So what does the word bully means? Bully means to frighten or to hurt a weak person. So it involves physical strength. That is bullying. And the next word is tease. Tease means to laugh at someone, to make fun of someone. Next word is depressed. Depressed means a feeling of unhappiness or sad or gloomy. So depressed means unhappy, sad or gloomy. Next one is feel cold and bitter. Feel cold and bitter means a feeling of being uncomfortable. Next word is triumph. Triumph means victory or win. And the last word is adversity. Adversity means a difficult situation, or you can call it misfortune. So these are the important words that we get in the second slot. So please make a note of them so that we can understand the reading passage easily. Now let us go into the main reading part. I am not going to read every word from the reading slot, but I am going to give you the meaning, and I will try to be detailed in giving the meaning. If you look at the first paragraph in this slot, you will come to know Nick's parents' reaction at the time of his birth. So, how did they react? Let us see. When Nick was born, his father was shocked and he went out of the hospital room to vomit. And his mother was distraught and did not hold him until he was 4 months old. Generally, people will be very happy and they celebrate when they beget a son. Especially, you can find this in our country. People give more importance to a son. When a son is in the family, when someone gets a son in the family, they feel very happy and they celebrate the occasion. But here, Nick's father was shocked and mother was distraught. Why? What could be the reason? The reason was that Nick was born without arms and legs. So this was the reason for their unhappiness, for their shock. And this is called phocomelia. This is a very, very rare occurrence in medical terms. Phocomelia is a disease. In other words, it is called tetramelia syndrome. We have already known the meaning in glossary. So a disease that causes the absence of limbs, or that causes short limbs at the time of birth. And their parents were asking themselves for many years why this happened to them. They did their best, but they got a son like this. And his mother blamed herself. She was a nurse by profession and she did everything during her pregnancy, but she blamed herself for giving birth to such a boy. So this was their reaction when Nick was born. But later, they helped him in many ways to be independent. They did their best to make Nick independent. His father put him in water when he was 18 months old, and that gave Nick courage to learn how to swim. Not only how to swim, but it also gave him courage to do many things, to play football, skateboarding, etc. So this is all because of his father's idea to make him independent. His father was a computer programmer and accountant. He taught Nick how to type with his toe when he was just 6 years old. So Nick learned how to type with his toe, not with his hand, because he has no hands. But his father taught him how to type with his toe. And his mother invented a special plastic device for him to hold a pen and a pencil. This means that they supported him in every aspect. Initially, they were not happy, but later they did their best. They tried to help him in every aspect to make him independent. And coming to his schooling, Nick's parents sent him to a mainstream school. We already discussed this. They knew that definitely Nick would be teased and bullied, but they sent him to the mainstream school, and Nick did not like this idea at first. But later, he said that the idea of sending him to a mainstream school was his parents' best decision. And when Nick grew up, after being teased and bullied, he continued his studies and he has a degree in financial planning and real estate. He became a graduate. But it was not easy for him. It was very hard for him, but it gave him independence. His parents were always trying to make him independent. And Nick became independent by earning a degree in financial planning and real estate. Coming to his mobility from one place to the other, it was possible for him with an electric wheelchair. He had an electric wheelchair for moving from one place to the another. With the help of the wheelchair, he could move from one place to another. And of course, he had a team of carers for helping him. And in the next paragraph, we'll see that Nick was very upset. He was deeply depressed. He was gloomy when he was a small boy. When he was 8 years, he was so deeply depressed. He was very sad that he went to his mother and he told her that he wanted to kill himself. That was his state. He was deeply depressed, very, very sad. He felt cold and bitter and hated God for his condition. He was uncomfortable because he had no arms and legs, and he was doing many things which were very impossible for him. That's why he felt cold and bitter, and he hated God for his condition. And sometimes he got a terrific thought about his parents. His parents always supported him. They always tried to make him independent. And what would happen to Nick if his parents weren't there? This idea was terrifying. So he always had this terrific thought in his mind. So because of all these things, he would have tried to kill himself. But his parents, as usual, they always tried to help him. Now let us see what Nick could do. He could brush his teeth with the help of a wall-mounted brush. Generally, people with hands and legs, they brush their teeth either with hands. If there are no hands, they may try with their feet. But in the case of Nick, he doesn't have arms and legs. So he has a wall-mounted brush. So a brush that was fixed on the wall, and with the help of that wall-mounted brush, he could brush his teeth. And to wash his hair, he used a pump action soap. It's like our sanitizer bottles. When we press that, we'll get the flow out. So with this kind of arrangement, he could brush and he could wash his hair. So these are he could do these things with a little difficulty, but there were many things which Nick could not do. These things were very tough for him. They were impossible for him. There were some such things. Earlier we read that when he was 8, he went to his mother and told her that he wanted to kill himself. But when he was 10 years, he tried that. He tried to kill himself. He tried to drown himself in the bath. He wanted to kill himself by taking a dip in water. But luckily, that attempt was futile. The attempt was unsuccessful. Why did he do that? Because he felt that there was no purpose to live. When you lack purpose and strength, you have no purpose to live. That was Nick's feeling. And it was very hard for him to hold on. It was very hard for him to live. So because of this, he tried to kill himself when he was 10 years, and luckily the attempt was unsuccessful. Later he realized that he had a purpose to live. He had a purpose to live. He realized that, and he became an international symbol of triumph over adversity. And how could he do that? His faith in religion, friends and family helped him to become an international symbol of victory over misfortune. Nick is a Christian. He is an evangelist. Evangelist is one who tries to declare, or one who tries to propagate the word of God. Nick is an evangelist, a Christian by faith. So his faith in religion, his friends and his family helped him to be independent, to be successful, and to be a motivator. So here ends our second slot. I hope you understand the meaning of these paragraphs. Now let us try to recapitulate what we read in the second slot. If you try to answer these questions, then half of the work is done. That means most of the points can be revised. What did Nick's father do when Nick was born? So what did he do? What did Nick's father do when he was born? He went out of the hospital room to vomit. Generally, when do we vomit? When our stomach is upset after eating excessive food. If we eat excess, then definitely our stomach gets upset. Or some people have the habit of vomiting as soon as they start their journey. If you are ill, then sometimes you may vomit, or if you go to a higher place, you may get a reeling sensation and you vomit. But here, Nick's father vomited. He went out of the hospital room to vomit on seeing his son without arms and legs. Sorry. Second question, why was Nick's mother distraught? Why was Nick's mother upset? Same reason. She gave birth to a boy who had no arms and legs. So she was upset. Third question, what is phocomelia? Phocomelia is a disease that causes short limbs or absence of limbs at the time of birth, and another name for phocomelia is tetra-amelia syndrome. Why did Nick's father put him in water? When Nick was 18 months old, that means a very small boy, a boy of a year and a half, Nick's father put him in water to make him independent, to give him courage to be independent. Fifth question, what was the use of his mother's invention? So what was his mother's invention for actually? A special plastic device. And what did Nick use it for? Nick used it for holding a pen or a pencil. So that was the use of his mother's invention. What is Nick's qualification? Nick is a graduate in financial planning and real estate. Question number 7. Why did Nick want to kill himself? Nick wanted to kill himself because he was teased and bullied on number of occasions. He was uncomfortable all his life, so he wanted to kill himself. And the last question, how did Nick overcome his misfortune? With the help of his religion, with the help of his friends and family, Nick overcame his misfortune. He became an international symbol of triumph over adversity. So this is all about the second slot, and let's meet in the next session. Until then, thank you. Stay home, stay safe. See you soon.